Ladies and gentlemen, it's another day on Press Hour, and we are so glad to have you on board. The countdown to the 2023 senatorial election narrows, and we are sizing up the stakes of that election. March the 12th is about 3 weeks ahead when the Senate election will take place, and we will have another parliament, at least the upper house of parliament. It concerns you, it concerns me. It is our country, and we have to count the stakes, because those stakes determine how well or how unwell our political health is, our social life is, and all other aspects of our life. That's why on Press I will make sure that we talk only about things that are of interest to you and I. Talking about the stakes of the 2023 March the 12th senatorial election, I have invited with the production team the following panel for you today. We have with us Ernest Akufo. Ernest Akufo is a civil society activist. I start with him because everything begins from civil. All of us, before you go branching left and right to your professional grades. Ernest, it's our pleasure to have you today on Press Hour.
The pleasure is shared, Kilian, and the viewers out there, viewers of Press Hour. It's always been a pleasure being on this panel to talk topical issues of the Republic. I want to say good afternoon to my co-panelists.
Thank you very much. We are so honored by your presence on our set, and just next to you, also next to me, is Dr. Batty Benz. He is the chairperson of the Cameroon Democratic Party. It's a political party abbreviated CDP. We are glad to have you here, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kilian, for inviting me. Thank you, televiewers of the Press Hour.
Yes, we want to think that you're going to share your opinions with us and tell us actually what is happening in the political realm, where so many of you are operating and making sure that it affects our life. From you to another politician brings Michael Ngwese Ekoso, who is the president of the United Socialist Democratic Party, USDP. We are so glad to have you on Press Hour set today, Prince.
Thank you, Kilian. It's my pleasure to be here once again, and I want to take this opportunity to greet my fellow panelists and to greet Cameroonians, the millions of Cameroonians that are stuck on their TV to watch us debate on this very topical issue today. And I believe that by the end of this program, we will have made significant contributions with regards to the stakes of the senatorial election 2023.
We trust you for that. Brings Michael Ngwese Ekoso. You're going to give us just that, and viewers are going to be satisfied. Just next to you, and at the extreme left of Press Asset, we have our own Lucas Tenenchefo, who is the publisher and editor-in-chief of the Reporter newspaper. Lucas, our pleasure to have you on Press Hour.
The pleasure is always shared, Kilian. Every time I have an opportunity to be invited on set, I'm always there, because I think it's only through this that we can edify so many people and we can change our own country. Changing a country doesn't mean that you must be somewhere. There are certain little things that we say here that can actually change the country. So I think my presence here will edify so many things, will edify so many people. At the end of the day, we'll be fine.
Yes, we usually start this program with press review. We're going to have our press review just in 1 minute 30 seconds. Before we come to that press review, I am going to ask the politicians who are here with me. This is a political period where we have an election. It's true that this election is an indirect suffrage election, which means that not everyone is going to go to the polls. We have an electoral college who are regional and municipal councillors. Is your party going in for this election? Dr. Benz.
Thank you, Gideon, for that interesting question. The CDP is not running for the senatorial elections for this year. We thought it wise that we could prepare ourselves for the upcoming municipal and legislative elections come 2025. You know, politics is a game, like we all must have understood by now. And going into elections, you should be prepared to see, and you must measure to see if is going to make any meaningful impact.
Yes.
We don't
have measured that, and you have seen that it's useless going.
Yeah,
yes. I have indications. We usually start press review. I had to ask you that question. I will ask the same question to you after press review brings Ngwese Eko. We have a press review that starts this program. It is ready now, and it's Yoti Kalili Songe who did press review for us. Yoti, what did the papers feed on in the week that just ended?
Today's press review is a compilation of news on the print media as seen on cover pages. The head of state, President Biya, is 90, Eden newspaper reports. On the eve of his birthday, the Post goes to his 11 February speech, highlighting self-employment prescribed to youths. Cameroon Tribune is more figurative in its narrative of Paul Biya's 90th anniversary, using icing on the cake as keywords. To the Horizon, at 90 he is a blend of divine grace and wisdom, and municipal updates concurs. The Guardian Post informs readers of the 90 hot files staring at Cameroon's #1 public servant for 41 years at 90. The Gabon massacre is equally revisited 3 years after. The attack on CDC workers equally made major headlines. Eden decries the fresh attack that has left 5 dead. The Post goes further to recount that the unidentified gunmen have killed 5 and injured 44 of the workers. According to the Guardian Post, they were killed by Amber fighters. The Horizon, on its part, describes it as a dark weekend in Tico, indicating that 5 workers have been killed. In education, the papers are unanimous that the ICT University has broken new grounds and is now promoting inclusive education, with the defense of a master's thesis on inclusive education by a visually impaired singer, Coco Bertin. Other stories like the Marburg virus red alert in Cameroon, Tico Airport rehabilitation work standstill, the diverted missions at DDR centers, and the visit of the president of Interpol also made news this week.
Thank you very much, Yoti. You watch what the press fed on the week that just passed, and we have taken the senatorial election because the campaigns are going to be launched by the 26th, and we are not sure that we may be here again since it's political activity, and during political activities politically sensitive programs are put on hold, and if we are not here next week, we have to talk about senatorial election today. And talking about senatorial elections, I wanted to ask Prince Michael Ngwese Eko. The question that I ask as a politician, I ask me, Dr. Bate, your political party, why are you running for the senatorial election? If not, why? If yes, why?
Well, Kilian, thank you once again for this very pertinent question. Just like my fellow panelist, Dr. Benz, mentioned, you know, the excitement about participation in elections in Cameroon sometimes keep me wondering why people are excited, because in my view and in the view of the United States Democratic Party, we believe that elections are supposed to be modeled in a way that gives people the ability to be able to participate without any infringement. And when you look at the ways that elections are organized in Cameroon, it leaves a lot of questions to be asked and answers to be provided. And so sometimes we find it a little bit funny to participate in elections that at the end of the day do not give the democratic process in this country the credibility that it deserves.
And that is where there is a problem.
That is where there is a problem.
Once you stay back, you give the opportunity to those people who are going to vote, whoever they want to vote in your place. That is the problem.
Yeah, my brother Kilian, you must understand first of all that within the context of this particular election, it is an indirect suffrage.
Suffrage, okay.
And so, given the fact that USDP is not yet in the councils and in the regions, and given the fact that the regional council was created just a few, I can say, months back, you don't expect a miracle to happen within the context of political dispensation, positioning, in my view. So what I am trying to say is that the active participation of politics should be the anxiety of everybody and the key actors. But once the anxiety and the excitement is not there, it makes it, it narrows down participation and makes it a little bit very, very uncomfortable.
Yes, Ernest, as a civil society activist, we are just extending. This is not general election. This is not a universal suffrage election, so we can spare maybe the civil society. But this one happens like so many other elections. He brings Ngwese Ekoso says, sometimes you sit back and you ask, are you going to come out with anything as civil society activists? What happens that people are losing faith that there is voter apathy, generally speaking, probably not with these elections in our country?
Well, thank you. That's an important question. You know, I may want to share his view, but not in total, because every political party which is created is geared at gaining power. And you see, gaining power is not only being at the helm of the state, local power. I did think that if Prince could have said the modality of scheduling of elections was not appropriately done, I think it would have been better. What do I mean by that? I mean to say that if elections were started from the council elections and then to regional elections, then to parliamentary and senatorial, that's where you find many political parties having councillors and vying for the forthcoming elections of the 12th of March. But it's rather unfortunate. And
well, talking particularly about senatorial elections.
Yes,
you know, this was put in place way back in 2012, and then the first election took place in 2013, and 2013 to 2018 is 5 years.
Yes.
No one day was added. 2018 to 2023, no one day was added. So you cannot even, we went into the electoral code and saw that there is nowhere in the electoral code that says this period can be extended. So political parties only have to align to what the electoral, as far as senatorial elections concerned.
Well,
so let us say that argument, we're not going to extend it, because political parties to go and get their councillors when council elections come, and regional council, municipal, when that time comes. Now we are going to go into the crux of the matter today, and our question on today's edition of Press R is, what are the stakes of the 2023 senatorial election in Cameroon? I will get the stakes from you before I raise some of the stakes, beginning with Lucas Teneng Chefo, the publisher and editor-in-chief of the Reporter newspaper. What stakes do you see in the horizon of this election?
Most people will think that the 12 March 2023 senatorial elections have no stakes. And their thinking is galvanized by the fact that there's a political party that is participating in the election in all the constituencies. It is further galvanized by the fact that some constituencies, like the South and the Southwest, are already acquired by one political party. But then, the mere fact that it's an election means there are stakes. And I begin to see in other constituencies, like in the Adamawa, in the Northwest, there are stakes. Stakes because the casting of one political party can influence the results in that constituency if other political parties are participating. Take, for instance, in Adamawa, where you have the NUDP of Berobuba and the CPDM of Comrade Paul Biya, as they called him.
Your comrade. I remember that.
No, I'm not a member of that. I said, Comrade Paul
No,
Biya,
there's no problem being a member. We just want to...
As his militant will call him. There, the UNDP has an upper hand. It comes to the number of voters. But they are casting of the candidates, because the fundamental issue, the fundamental problem in all these elections is at the base. Political parties decide to do what they call investiture. They bring in candidates that might not be popular with the grassroots, and this causes some apathy, this causes some anger, this causes some frustration. So in some places, a party, even the CPDM, might be voted out by CPDM councillors because of those who have been imposed. I mean, I use the word imposed in quotes.
So you are suggesting that there could be a vote of non-confidence on the poll?
There can be a vote of non-confidence because it has happened. It has happened.
We had it in the littoral one time in Yabasi, I think so.
Yeah. So there's a precedence to point to the fact that you might think you have the comfortable majority and things turn. Because even in the Northwest, we've seen how the balance have played 2013, CPDM, 2018, SDF, until now, SDF. Is it going to go back to the CPDM or to remain in the SDF?
Yes, the argument that we're going to stay on that point. The argument people of even the SDF are giving is that at that point in 2018, the margin was just about 9 councillors, and they could play so many games for those 9 councillors to vote against their own party. But now the margin is wild as the wilderness.
Yeah, the margin is wild, Kilian. Let me tell you one thing. In the Northwest, look at the senatorial list in the Northwest. Look at the senatorial list of the Northwest in 2013. I think if you say the Senate represents the regions and the municipal and the local councils. Go to Norway and ask even the CPDM councillors if they know the names of the senators in 2013. Some of them will not know. So why did the people who were voted in 2013 go back to even thank those who voted them? I'm not very sure. So what tilted in 2018? What could have tilted in 2018 might be the undoing of the same senators who were voted in 2013 and they did not give any account, and in 2018 the SDF, they said let's try this other way. The SDF was able to, because when it comes to political elections, there's what we call political horse trading. Political horse trading is something that say, okay, NS, you are CPDM, but I'm SDF. Please, if I do this, if I vote you, what is the payback? So political horse trading is permitted, and when the political horse trading is permitted, everything can happen. Results can surprise even those who think they had the majority. Well,
we give you credit for your opinion, but I also want to think that party discipline in the CPDM will make it difficult for another party to overturn them in that place, because for what I know, they trust the hierarchy of their party, and they are aligned, and they have sanctions each time people go against. Well, as you also rightly say, no race is won before it is run. Prince Michael, what are some of the stakes? I said I'm going to let you bring up your stakes, let them flow before we go into particular stakes that I prepared.
Thank you once again, Kilian. I believe in the adjustment of the political landscape of this country. I really hope to see a country that has a political terrain that is very, very flexible and transparent. That is one. And when you look at the elections, and particularly this 2023 senatorial election, just like Lucas was mentioning a while ago, the stakes are very, very are whimsical, in the sense that we might be thinking that the CPDM has it all, and at the same time, there are some. If I'm not wrong, there are some new political parties that are going to be running for this senatorial election, and when you look at it clearly, you ask yourself whether the CPDM or the ruling party understands that the way that the senators have been managing, or the way that the senators or the Senate has been operating since 2013 to 2023, does it reflect the role that was assigned to the Senate? If they have not accomplished that role, then the stakes are still very high. In the sense that other political parties that are in the race right now may walk through the weaknesses of the operations of the role of the Senate to be able to project a vision that they will consider, or they can be considered as the right perspective for us to be able to have a democratic a platform in this country which actually respond to the demands of the people. Because we must mind ourselves that until now, like Lucas rightly mentioned, people don't know who are their senators. People don't even know what are the roles or the function of senators.
Can we say that brings, because these people are not from space, they are from the villages, the towns of our country. They are also knowing that senators come from their regions. They do not cross except where you have the sociological aspect that is minimal. These people are sons and daughters of those regions, and sometimes of the villages. How can we say people don't know them?
That is the question. How do you run for an election in this country? Why do you run for election in this country? Those are all stakes, or those are questions that are attributed to the stakes of elections. If you are not known, you are handpicked and imposed, like Lucas mentioned. How do you actually represent the aspirations of the people? You will not be able to represent the aspirations of the people. And if you cannot represent the aspirations of the people, you will not be known. And when you are not known, you cannot play the role of a senator. You know, the fact that we have the Senate in Cameroon, like for example, if you compare with other democratic platforms in the world, for example, in the United States, most of the candidates for presidential elections emanates from the Senate.
From Senate.
But can we boast that in the Senate that we have in Cameroon, do we have people in that Senate who can boast that tomorrow they can challenge the incumbent?
Why not?
I believe that the population will be able to answer the question. Okay. So those are the things that we should be looking at. When people are not known, when people are imposed in elections, then it creates more stakes in the minds of the electorates.
Yes, you have the right to comment on what Prince Ekoso has said, but we also expect you to bring out what stakes you see in the 2023 March the 12th senatorial election. Dr. Benz Bate.
Thank you, Kilian. When I look into the situation, I want to think that the very first thing that comes to my mind is that of security issues. We may think that the situation has calmed down, but we still have to open our eyes. And this message should go particularly to the administration and those who are in charge of forces of law and order. In the northern regions of Cameroon, we have this issue of Boko Haram, which is still on. We have the northwest and southwest crisis, which it is still there. We all know these things. I'm not saying it for the first time. These issues, the security challenges, are supposed to be looked into very keenly. It is true that the senatorial elections will take place different regional capitals. Yes, that is okay. The different actors or the different regional councillors and councillors will have to move from their different areas. Somebody who is from Furawa will have to go and meet the others at the regional
capital.
So we don't know. We just hope that that is an important point which I think the government should look into. It's a very important point because there will be movements between, we are just about 2 weeks or more.
Yes, about 3 weeks. That is going to take place on the 12th of March.
12th of March, yeah. And so they should be timely to see how they can move people. Otherwise, we are going to register a lot of trouble or catastrophic accidents that may happen because it's not our wish, but I'm just saying here that we have to be very cautious on that. Concerning the issue of people not being known as candidates for senatorial elections, I'm a little bit surprised, Koso Prince, that you made such allegation on candidates. These candidates are known. Elekam published the list of candidates, I think, last Tuesday. Yes. And if you read papers, you must have seen the list. And before this list were even presented, there's what they call there's a selection that is done in every political party to choose within itself those who are to represent the party. And I think there is some sort of preparative work which is being done. These people, at times, they produce flyers and they make themselves known, and they even make promises to the population what they intend to do if they are given the mandate. So saying that these people are not known, maybe you don't know them, which of course is your opinion. All those who are to run for the senatorial elections are known until now. Yes, in some of the list, you only have the replacement of some of them who died. They are the people who were carried forward from 2018. So some of them are known. Probably they have not been as popular as Prince expected them to be.
I think that, let me just maybe make some clarifications. When I said people are not known, I'm not saying that they don't have an identity. I am saying that their impact with regards to participating in election is minimal with regards to the demands of the political environment. So that should be taken into consideration. Because the temptation we have in our country is that people just come out, especially within the context of the ruling party discipline, and we choose people here and there. So my point I was trying to make is that the aspiration, why are people running for elections? You run for election because you want to accomplish an objective or a vision. And if that vision is not in conjunction with the aspirations of the people, why are you running for election?
Okay. See, let me say something here. You see, I'm still not very confident with your position here. You see, a party like the ruling party, I'm not a lawyer for the party, for the CPDM. I'm not a lawyer for the CPDM.
You could be now.
But I'm just saying that they have as interest to choose the best candidates so that they go out there and win. And so the SDF also have as interest to choose the best candidates, and so they compare who is a better place. You see, after the elections, there will be this issue of discipline that is going to come in, and they are going to sanction those who did not take a party or did not toe the line. So it's not a question of people being known, or I think everybody in politics is a game of interest and a game of number. If you play your game well, you are going to be projected. If they don't trust you, that's why they talk about investing. If you are not trustworthy in a political party, don't expect yourself to come up.
Yes, in 1 minute, let me ask you this question and you answer in 1 minute. Is your position somehow related to the fact that you are the chairperson of the G20, that appeasement position that you are taking?
That's an overstatement.
Maybe you should tell us more about G20 and...
Yes, I double as the president or the chairperson of the G20.
Which
I was elected. The
what's the position of the G20?
We took part in the last presidential elections. We supported the ruling party to to get Cameroonians vote for President Paul Biya. You see, we came together because we had the same ideology. Those of us whose party had the same ideology, the same. We saw that we needed somebody that could lead Cameroon at this time where Cameroon is faced with crisis in the northern region with Boko Haram. You have the southwest and northwest.
You have the east where you have the spillover of insecurity in the Central African Republic.
We needed somebody who is experienced, somebody who could deliver, and so that is it. And so we came together and decided to support the president. I'm not saying all what I said yet because of my capacity as the chairperson of the G20, but I'm saying this out of experience. Because I used to invest on some candidates, and there is a case where I did not invest in some particular, so I didn't invest the party on a particular group of persons because I saw that they were not loyal to the party, and that was already a very big problem. I was not very sure of their complete participation and for them to be able to toe the line.
Thank you very much. We are going to get into others. I had to ask that question, and your answer says it all. Ernest, I have some stakes that I came out with, but I wanted you to let your stakes from your mind flow before we go into some of them.
Yes, obviously.
What are some of the stakes of this election that we have?
Obviously, when we're talking stakes, we're talking about claims, right? Yeah, because stakes means, because when you go in for a bet, you want to gain something. Yeah, but
well, things that could happen and disrupt, or not only disrupt, overturn tables, or surprise people, or change the way people usually think that is going to go. Those are some of the things that, or even just make people happy when they expected not to be.
You see, the stakes are low, too low. It's the same old story, right? Yeah, I want to differ from the other panelists. It's the same old story in the sense that when you look at the 10,636 people who are going to vote, the majority of them are of the party in power. And I did hear...
We have 11,138 in total. Then we have 10,271 municipal councillors, then 844 regional councillors.
Yeah, so when you look at them, the majority they are of the party in power, and following the party discipline, I don't see how we begin to talk about the stakes. Well, talking about the other side of the stakes, elections in the northwest and southwest region. In the southwest region, it is a déjà acquis. Yes, there's no gainsaying about that. The people, the senators have started jubilating, and then
let's go to areas where there are a bit of stakes. Because
go to the
as you say, there are no stakes.
Yeah, go to the northwest region. It's very unfortunate that we expected some tussle. Not the negative one between in politics is an issue of ideas. It's not the muscles, right? Yeah. So I expected to see the SDF and the CPDM coming neck and neck, but it's very unfortunate that the petition which this SDF tendered at the Constitutional Council. I don't know how people can be politicians for.
Well, talk about the petition. You have to enlighten our viewers on what happened. The simple fact is that there is a law or one of the sections in the electoral code which says that in metropolitan areas you must take into consideration the sociological aspect. That is to say that you have, for example, in the northwest, you have people who have settled there from the west, who have settled from other places. They are part and parcel of that place, and the SDF, the CPDM list, according to the SDF, did not take into consideration this sociological consideration. And then now you can continue. We want our
yes, adopt it, but since there were lapses in the composition of that list. The SDF, in tendering in their petition at the Constitutional Council, they came a little late later than the stipulated period.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that they had the right. What they were saying is true, but according to the time frame within which they had to deposit the petition at the Constitutional Council, they came a little late. So their claims were correct, but they could not win the case. Because
so that was a stake they missed out.
They missed out.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And then another one is you see this palaver of political elections apathy. People have gone away with the impression.
No, you already talked about that. Remember, I asked you that from the beginning of this program. Yeah. So we are going to move on to some other things.
Yeah, Kilian, the issue of the petition of the SDF being thrown out, I'm still wondering till date, because I've followed the SDF since 1992 till now. More often than not, they have the best lawyers. I think so. Yeah. I want to believe so. Yeah. But more often than not, all their petitions are always thrown out of court because of either procedure or the form. So over the years, what is happening? That you have lawyers and you have a clear case like the one in Norway that you ought to have won, then your petition comes in. I saw people were complaining that it was not even the lawyers of the SDF that tendered in the petition. So what actually happens? What happens that over the years, the SDF, after every election, they tender in petitions, and the petitions are always thrown out of court because of either form or procedure.
Okay, thank you very much. I had to allow you to clarify that. I'm going to bring in some of the stakes that we have. The first area where we have stakes in this election is in Damawa. That is an area where we have more voters, especially in the municipal council councillors, than from an opposition party, the NUDP, that are where those of the CPDM. So I think that is where we're going to have a hot contest of election. Let's look at that. What happens? That is exactly what can happen in that place. Beginning with the Prince, you are well seated as a politician.
Yeah, thank you once again, Kilian. You know, sometimes it's difficult to be able to really explain the way things are politically in this country, because when you talk about the UNDP having the upper hand in Adamawa,
in terms of the voters,
and when you look at the way the coalition between the UNDP and the ruling party, you cannot actually point a finger that because of these reasons, this is what is going to happen. My point is that there are lots of situations in this country which the UNDP as a political party would have helped turn the table of the political platform of this country, and they have not been able to do so. Just like my brother Ernest mentioned a while ago, and Lucas also, about some of these very great political parties that have all the expertise that you can talk about. What happens that they are unable to turn the table?
Now let me say something about the NUDP, UNDP, if you like. I have worked with all the big political parties in this country, closely with the hierarchy of all those parties.
That's right.
As a political reporter for CRTV. What the NUDP leadership says, they are very clear they are a presidentialist party. They only vote or allow their supporters to vote for the president of the republic for presidential elections. All other elections, they come out as fierce as possible to grab the positions. For senatorial, for council, for parliamentary, they do not give in their votes to other parties. So that's why we are asking you to show us, given that that's their position that I'm giving you, I am confident that they will confirm what I'm saying. If what I'm saying, actually, as I am confident, is what they hold, there should be high stakes there. And you know, in the northern regions, any of those parties like the ANDP, the NUDP, or any other that is from there, once they get any political stronghold there, it would be very difficult for some other parties, especially the CPDM, to overturn them. So there are stakes, very high stakes there. What can happen in such a case? Yes.
The point I'm trying to make is not. I agree with you completely, but the issue is that once you have already signed a coalition with the ruling party,
for the president,
for the
president of the republic,
Kilian, please.
Yes.
You called me here to come and talk.
Yes.
So
please.
allow me to talk.
I will allow you. Go ahead, Prince.
So once you have signed a coalition with the ruling party, it is about politics. We are talking politics here, and the issue about politics in Cameroon is 100%, and with regards to what we have seen as experience with the major political parties, even at the level of the opposition, is that there are compromises that are being done at all levels in terms of election and politics. So there is no way you can say that it's only at the level of presidential election. Election is election, and this is another election, a major one for that matter. It concerns electing people who are going to be talking on behalf of the population. And in this case, we should understand that the UNDP has a great majority in the Adamawa and even in the north and extreme north. But the point in case now is, will the UNDP continue to maintain its hegemony in this particular Adamawa region?
That is the question we are asking.
Yeah.
And
so if they will have to maintain it, and they will have to have majority of the senators from that particular constituency, what will happen?
those are the stakes we are talking about now. Lucas.
Yes.
You clarify this.
Yes.
You clarify this, and before you go ahead, we have, so as I've said, I worked with some of these political parties, even the leaders, all of them, as a reporter, and this is their position. There are presidential majority. They don't give in councils.
I know for UNDP, when it comes to local elections, UNDP is fiercer than even the CPDM.
Okay.
They want to grab all the seats in the north, the three northern regions. In the Adamawa, what I am afraid might happen when it comes to the council, the locally elected people, the councillors, UNDP has an advantage over the CPDM. But when we start, we've just brought in the regional councillors as part of the electorate. And who are those who are in the regional councillors? We have to look at that, because that might tilt in favor of the ruling party.
Obviously,
because some of them are people who were handpicked by the ruling party. They may use the word handpicked because there's one thing in this that has killed politics in this country, and I would say it without mixing words, is this issue of investiture. This issue of investiture has killed. I've seen it. It has ruined the SDF. It has ruined the SDF, and it is already ruining the CPDF.
I hear it's not a Cameroonian affair. That in the US, you are also invested.
You are invested. Look at how we do it here. It is how we do it, because I cannot sit in Yaoundé here. I spend all my time here in Yaoundé. Then they take me from Yaoundé to Bamenda and put me in the list. When there are people who are the grassroots militants are there, they go and put me in a list. I win, after and I come back to Yaoundé. They vote me, I come back to Yaoundé. I don't go. That kills the enthusiasm of the local politics. I said the SDF had dwindling fortunes because of this. They were one time, they had mayors that were, they called them recalcitrant mayors. But the mayors, since they were already elected and they went against party discipline, they stayed their mandate. And when they stayed their mandate, were they now acting in consonance with the party, or acting in consonance with their own personal selves? Let's keep that aside. Even in the ruling CPDM, there are people who have been sanctioned because they say this is the same names, the same faces, the same people. They keep on going around. What change are we expecting? Who are they representing?
That's right.
We need to know who they are representing. If actually there are no people in my village that have spent all their time in the ruling CPDM, and every time an election comes out like this, people will leave Yaoundé to go and take the positions. Would they not get frustrated?
In the far north also, out of about 46 subdivisions that we have in the far north, I've worked there, Mayo Danai has the majority of those, and I get echoes that the people who have been invested or who are on the list are not also popular. We're going to see how it turns out to be there. Those are some of the stakes. Will there be a kind of vote of non-confidence, or will it be what Dr. Ben says, party discipline? Those are some of the things that we're asking as questions.
There's one thing. Let's be clear on this. 100 senators, 70 elected, 30 appointed. Which means in a race of 100, somebody has already taken 30. Because the person who appoints, I know you have the prerogative to appoint. All those he appoints will be loyal to him.
30 plus 14.
No, it takes 30. And then do the mathematics. Take the South, 7 senators. It makes how many? 37. Take the Southwest. He has 44 before the elections.
Out of 100.
Out of 100. Somebody already have 44 before the elections. And Kilian, there's one thing that has been bothering me. You see, when they used to elect mayors, they elect mayors, and then they'll bring in a government delegate who is not elected to lord over the mayors. It brought frustration, and the government tried to change it. How did they change it? They changed it by saying, okay, we'll bring a city mayor who will be elected among those who are elected. Why do we not think that it can happen in the Senate?
And that is a point that I noted as stake. The president who has 30 to appoint could be like a regulator. Dr. Benz, you're going to say this. He could, since you are seeing the CPDM everywhere, they win, say, 9 if the NUDP wins. In the Damawa, they have an upper hand. They win 9 out of the 10. And the president comes and says, okay, I'm going to appoint 20 from the opposition political parties to balance up, to make Cameroon have a pluralist upper house of parliament.
I think
it must not only be seen negatively.
If the environment
I'm going to give you the floor,
is clear. If the political environment is leveled, you don't need to appoint to balance up. If the political environment is leveled.
Kilian, I think one of the things that we must be able to do here is trying to educate the people to understand that the stakes of these elections, or generally election, and particularly this particular election in Cameroon, are extremely high. Contrary to what my brother was saying, that there are no stakes. The stakes are extremely high. Because when you look at the way elections are done, I didn't want to come to that point of the fact that the president has the prerogative of appointing 30 senators from nowhere.
They are Cameroonians. For sure.
Doctor, can you allow me? The point is that these are some of the stakes. You appoint someone, and that person is supposed to be loyal to you.
Not necessarily.
If, for example,
not necessarily. Can you help us?
You see, thank you.
How many
Kilian.
of those that have been appointed are not loyal?
I know of the NUDP senator, Mr. Ngayap, who is loyal to his NUDP party. He has never been a member of the CPDM. I don't see him go.
Loyalty is not necessarily taking a membership card from the ruling party, Mr. Kilian.
Well,
when we are talking about the stakes here, we should understand what we are trying to say. The issue about election in this country is about the wish of the people, and the way that elections are conducted, and the investiture or the investiture that Dr. Bate mentioned about the ruling party is one of the reasons why we have the kinds of democracy that we have in this country, which Lucas have been highlighting on that. We cannot come here and we pretend as if maybe nothing is really wrong in this particular election. The stakes are really high, and the fact that the president has the prerogative of appointing 30 of them already creates a lot of outcry.
Yes,
let me say here that I can see Prince really has a lot of problems with the way our country is moving politically wise.
Of course, I do.
I can sense that. What I want to say here is that we cannot go out of that concept of the law. You see, otherwise we are going to live in a country which is not going to be governed by law. It is very clear. I'm sure as a politician, you know that those are the rights of the head of states. The president has those powers. He has the power to appoint 30 senators.
We know that. We know that already.
Out
and that is why we are asking, why should the president appoint 30?
It is our responsibility
now. The law
now.
can be changed.
Yes, I understand.
The law can be changed.
It will be our responsibility for those who will be lucky to be appointed to stay fast, to take up to them what they are supposed to do. Let me tell you, the president appointed a minister some time ago. I don't want to mention the name.
It's okay.
They started working, and after a while, that same minister resigned.
Yes.
Let me just learn. I just want to tell you how it is possible that the president can appoint Mr. A as a senator, and Mr. A gets to the Senate House and decide and says, no, the president has appointed me, yes, but this is why I am here.
Yes.
And so another minister also turned down the offer.
Yes.
So it is not how we are appointed or what favor we may get, but it depends on our integrity.
Yes.
We must put
appointed, and then
that is not why we are here. I'm not here to say that. I am not the one to choose whether
those policies.
This is a very hot point that we are on. It's also to say from their argument that those 30 that are appointed by the head of state should represent pluralism. I think if he did that, there will be no problem. I don't think that if he appointed Prince will change. So we should say, okay, let him appoint people like Prince. Who will, and there will be no. Will you find any problem with that if he appointed? Because you will not change.
No, the point is not appointing Prince Ekoso per se.
No, the likes. You may not be the one, but someone like you. Will you change? You will not change.
Okay,
he has the floor.
Now I want to think that. Well, today we say the law is the law, but we know that law was poorly conceived.
No, we are not talking about the law. We are seeing how we can use the law now to correct certain things. Don't take us out of the topic. How can the fact that he appoints, because you will not change the law on this set?
Yes.
How can he use that law? How can he use that law now to give the type of people we want? That's all we want. No,
the president has the yam and the cake. He cuts what chunk he wants to give to whoever.
So just how well he can cut it. That's what we want.
Cutting it, because when I look at the political coloration, there are very new political parties that have gotten into the race, and they are inexperienced. Yeah, because they are coming to meet heavyweights in the race, and I don't see them making any leeway. But for an inclusive democracy, permit me use that. The president, could use his discretionary powers to say, to say, okay, the major political parties which were not able of being voted into the Senate, okay, after the elections, he may look at it if only his hands are free.
The president's hands are free, please. That he can appoint from all those. That's what
I think. To make the fee a bit level, because the fee can never be level in this election. To make the fee a bit level, and know their parties like the FDC, the FSNT, the MDR, they might not make it. If they don't make it and they attempt it, why not appoint people from there?
But
if the head of state uses his discretion to appoint people from there, it might tamper the polarized environment. Because what I'm saying that,
but he has done that before.
Yes,
we have the NUDP, we have the UDC, we have AAP, we have some other political parties.
Another thing is, I've had the opportunity to talk with some of these senators that have gone and what the Frenchman will say Muele Mayo to get elected, and they come to the Senate and they go and sit in the chair, and they appoint somebody. Is either the president, he gets into the bureau. Those who are appointed, they come in and get into the bureau, and those who are elected, they always feel that those who were appointed don't actually merit the same consideration like them. So I think that I know that Kilian will tell me that the head of state has the prerogative. The head of state was elected by the universal suffrage.
Thank God.
And has the prerogative to appoint.
Yes.
But let's try to move away from some of the routine Because what is killing this country is routine. The head of state has very lofty ideas. He creates institutions, appoint people there, and people go there and derail those institutions.
Yes.
I can name so many institutions in this country that the head of state have created for the well-being of Cameroonians, and appoint people there. The people disappoint him by derailing it. The Senate is even one of them.
Thank you. Okay.
Let me just
yes,
add.
Yes, and that will be your last word.
I'm not saying this with regards to the fact that maybe Dr. Bate has mentioned that I should be appointed. But in my view, looking at the ancientness of the senatorial platform, could it not be possible for the president, if he considers to appoint in those 30 positions, to appoint young people who are dynamic, who can be able to deliver for the people, and who actually believe that they can actually have a follow-up of what he has had as a vision for this country? Because from every indication,
we got your
those
point.
who have been with him for all this while,
the president should
do not follow up his vision.
Good. Our time is up, but I will give Dr. Bate just 30 seconds for the way forward, the way out of this program. 30 seconds.
The way out, I think we will be happy, Cameroonians will be happy to hear that people of all walks of life have been appointed when the time comes to represent the entire country.
Thank you.
Not only politicians, because in the Senate, you don't only talk politics there.
Yes, talk decentralization.
Talk decentralization.
Yes, that is their specialty. Thank you. Thank you
so
very much.
Get people who have the qualities,
the expertise in that area, especially.
And those who can better represent this country.
Thank you very much. And that was Dr. Bate, Benz Bate, if you like, is the chairperson of the Cameroon Democratic Party, the CDP. We also had another politician with us here, that is Prince Michael Ngwese Ekoso, who is the president of the United Socialist Democratic Party, the USDP. We had a civil society activist, that is Ernest Akufo. Then our own Lucas Teneng-Chefo, who is the publisher of and editor-in-chief of the Reporter newspaper. On behalf of the production team of Press Hour, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time.